Nah, where everybody at? What's up? What's up, y'all? What's up? What's up, most? What's up? Yep, you like it. See what we're breathing. See what this topic brings. Let's see what you got to say. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for the gifts. Anybody on YouTube? I think one person's on YouTube. I think one person's on YouTube. Shout to yeah. Subscribe to my YouTube. 3 more subscribers till I hit 1,000. 3 more subscribers till I hit 1,000 on YouTube. What's up? Okay. Like the live. Thank you. Yeah, how you doing? Hope everybody's doing well. Get over 10,000 likes, y'all. What's up, Regal? What's up, Regal? Regal. No regrets. What's up? Request up if you got anything to say. What's up? What's up, Black Mamba? So they had black powwows, right? Black powwow. Black Indians had their own powwow. What this book says. I mean, this news article says. Black Indians had their own powwow. So yeah, you ever heard of these? I want to go to one. What state are you in? They usually have powwows in like November, July, maybe like February or something like that. Has some African members. Okay. You're in Texas. I don't know, and you're in your area during those times, like July, February, November. No problem. No problem. What's up, Miss POV? Hey, what's going on? How y'all doing? All right, hold on. Wow, had to refresh. Like live up, like live. What's your thoughts on the article we presented? What's up? What's up, sincerely? Man, I just got to work. Just got home from work not too long ago. So peace, peace. How y'all doing? All right, I've been on for like 7. So what's up? What's up, Marcy? What's up? What's up, Marcy? How you doing, Marcy? Uh, LOL. Yeah, it is Monday for sure. That's what I got to do. LOL. Yeah, it is Monday for sure. That's what I got to do on Monday. Stay after. Maybe like 4 hours watching the Ravens freaking choke. Watching the Ravens choke the game away. So that's how I spent my Sunday night. Watching the Ravens choke. Y'all love it. That was a good game. Yeah, yeah, sure. Yep, it's definitely great. Yep, it was great to see. Yep, yeah, great to see the Ravens choke, right? But I bet it was a great game if you aren't a fan of either of the two, right? What's up? Other than that, the article is definitely interesting. Raiders. Oh, brother, not a Raiders fan. They interesting. Chocolate City. Chocolate City. Bro. Y'all that. Geno Smith. He on my fantasy team. I should have started him over Sam Darnold. You're a steal. Oh, brother. Y'all that. Geno Smith. He on my fantasy team. I should have started him over Sam Darnold. You're a steal. Oh, brother. But nah, the Raiders is cool. The Raiders are better though. Most natives are the sidekick. It's oh man, like the live. Let's get up to 10,000 likes though, y'all. See if anybody comes in with this topic. What's up, Sister Moon? I'm a Cleveland fan. Look, I'm from Cleveland, LO, and the Ravens used to be the Cleveland team. Yeah, yeah. You know, we're the offspring of the franchise. But Baltimore did have the Colts at one point, but the Colts left, and Art Mo- yeah, Art Modell ended up bringing the Browns to Baltimore. So But yeah, Baltimore was out without a football team for a little bit, for a little while. The only thing the Browns need is a quarterback, if you want to be honest. The only thing the Browns need really is a quarterback. And they man, their defense pretty good. Europeans have been here for 500 years. Sure. Yeah, their defense look good. What's up? What's good, grandson? Grandson? Be a lot. Be a lot. Pretty dangerous. All right. But yeah, if anybody was to come up, feel free to request up. Request up. Anybody, I guess at this point. What year did the Skies come in invade and start mixing? Uh, what's up, OG? You talking about blood Connor? We have nothing to talk. Uh, what's up, OG? You talking about blood Connor? We have nothing to talk about. That is pretty. Native FA and Sun Native. We got both the natives in here. We got both the natives in here. And I am not talking about the Native Americans. We got two natives in here, but I'm not talking about the Native Americans. Let's let's get up to 10,000 likes, y'all. How was work? Yeah, it was all right. It definitely felt long today. I got like 4 hours of sleep because I was watching the Ravens play, and then I had to teach 3 classes straight. So I had to teach 3 classes straight. So yeah, it was something. Man, they need to change those times. Man, I don't want to talk about that show. I do not want to talk about that, even though I just talked about it. I do not want to talk about that. That score. Because all the Ravens had to do was run the goddamn clock out. You know, terrible coaching. All the Ravens had to do not fumble, just run the clock out. And guess what they didn't do. They yeah, all that bad coaching. It's funny how the Bills could miss all those 2 point conversions, right? But when the Ravens miss an extra point, that's what bites us in the bites us, comes back to bite us. I was like, you can't be serious. They get to miss all these 2 point conversions, but all we do is miss a goddamn extra point. And yeah, that's it for the Ravens. Man, like you can get out of here. Josh Allen owns he's for I don't care. What does Josh Allen have to show for it? He owns the rate. What does Josh Allen have to show for it? Nothing. No Super Bowl. Nothing. He was on the couch watching the Super Bowl like Lamar was. Nothing. What does it? I'm not the one talking about who's on. No. What does it? I'm not the one talking about who's owning who. More MVPs. Should have had three. Should have had three if you want to be honest. Josh Allen got the here damn MVP last year. The Bills ain't never win a Super Bowl. How are the Bills 0-4? How are you 0-4 in the Super Bowl? I'll be happy. No, I like go for okay. I was about to say, don't get me started. The Bills say, don't get me started now. You like both? Yeah, I like for both quarterbacks too. It just now. You like both? No, I don't think it's. Background. I done made Madden look too easy for myself. Background. I done made Madden look too easy for myself. What's up, anime? Let's see. Let me change the background real quick. It's been like 15 minutes. I can change it. I can change it. What can I change it to? There we go. I'll change it to that. I'll change it to that. Why are they wanting others? How about you come up here and ask me why we want others? What's up, laced out mommy? Hi. How's it doing? How you doing? How's it doing with football? So nope, I can see where that would be pointless. All right. Well, you can stay in the audience then, I guess. At least you know it'd be pointless, but you ain't gonna get through to me. At least you know, as long as you know it's pointless. Saints going to the Super Bowl. Oh, brother, you said the Super Bowl in 2056? You said the Super Bowl 30 years from now? But yeah, what's up, FBA champion? I don't know if 50 years Trump is doing the job. Yeah, if the Earth is still around 30 years from now, right? Cause you have to, yeah. What's up, Dylan A? What's up? What's up? How you doing? Zam. 5 people on YouTube. Is anybody else live right now? Okay, it's a couple lives. I think we're talking about similar stuff. All right. Let me tweet. All right. Alive and well, abundance to you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. One part, and then he says he had African DNA. That's fine. That's fine. Conscious moron. Everybody, what he said, we mostly indigenous. Folks is mostly indigenous, so that's fine. We most. Where you from? What's ethnicity?
What you say? Ethnicity is an American. No, I'm black, but.
Oh, okay. What's your thoughts on the prompt? Thoughts on the prompt?
It's got to be false because he himself said, like I said in the interview, he has African DNA, so he can't be indigenous if he has African DNA.
Well, he said most folks was already here. You don't agree with that?
No, false.
Already here. You don't agree with that?
No, I definitely
don't. Okay. Who do you think Black Americans are from?
You don't think you think we from here?
I know.
So you Indian? So you Indian certificate of blood? What's it called? DCIB?
For what?
You got a DCIB card?
For what?
You got a DCIB card? Certificate of Indian blood.
I need the government to certify me for being Indian.
It's Indian tribes that certify you, actually.
The being Indian?
It's Indian tribes that certify you, actually.
The being. No, that's not.
Well, that's called
certify me for being Indian.
It's insane. I said DCIB. I said a certificate of Indian blood.
That comes from the BIA, sir. That's a government office.
So the government with the Indians?
How many? It's like over 300.
How many treaties did they make? Or I actually did they?
It's over. Which one are you referring to? They have over 300.
Did the Indians make?
They have over. Yes, sir. They have over 300.
So that Indians are Indians, right? If they have over 300 treaties. They're telling the Indians are telling the government who's Indian. They're telling the Indians are telling the government who's Indians, right?
Is the BIA not a government office, or is the government?
Does the do Indians work with the BIA?
Some do, and it's a lot of Europeans in there, a lot of government officials in there.
But some Indians work and allocate monies or allocate who is an Indian or not, right? I just asked
the government. The government sends the tribes money. So that's all the government. So that's all the government to certify that I'm Indian.
I'm just curious. I just asked you. You said you were Indian. I just asked.
I said no. And you asked for a card, right? You said no. And you asked for a card, right? I asked you, why do I need a card from the government to certify that I'm Indian? What I need the government for?
No, I'm just asking because most Indians who are Indians have a card that says they're Indians. I was just asking.
That's it. There's YT people. There's YT people that have them too.
Okay. So you don't.
Yeah.
Do you have?
I literally. I said that. Did you not hear me answer that? I said it. Yeah. No. I said no.
Okay.
Right. But.
Okay. So
I don't get why I would. That's why I asked you. Why would I need the government to certify what my family is when I'm a descendant of my family?
How are you going to get Indian benefits if you?
How am I going? Well, who said I'm in it for the benefits, right? Who said I'm in it for the benefits? I'm recognized by the state of Maryland as an Indian. That's all. That's all I need to be recognized by. The state of Maryland, the place where I'm at, the place where I live recognizes me as an Indian because it's on my documents. The government, yeah, I'm from.
Recognizes you as
certified. I don't need the government to recognize me. They know I'm an Indian because I told them, hey, I'm an Indian. Hey, I'm an Indian of this tribe. I told them that. It's on my documentation. I don't need to because my family is my family. I came from my family. So you nor the government, you nor the government can tell you me about my family if you're not related to me.
Absolutely not. So I'm saying like your grandfather was an Indian and his father.
They were Indians. Which one of your families
is a full blown Indian?
Yeah, is your dad a full blown African?
Enslaved and don't know the particular country we come from, but we.
Where's your family? What plantation your family come off?
I'm gonna tell you. Like, since we don't know what country we came from in Africa, we just use the continent because we know we came from the continent of Africa. So that's why we say African, but we were born here in America. And that's why we say American, African American. It kind of.
Who gave you that term? It's not on none of your parents' documentation.
Here in America, and that's why we say American.
Government.
It just became a popular phrase in the 80s.
It's not on any of your legal document certificate.
No, but is it on the census?
It's on the census in what, 2020? And of 2025 it's on the census, right? It says Black or African American or. So with that being said, right, it's not a definitive in it. It's put on people in the 1980s, and most people rejected it. Over 70% of people were like, nah, we don't like that term when Jesse Jackson came out with it.
Why?
Over 70%.
How did it last so long if we still didn't like it initially?
It's a political term.
I'm saying it's been
politicians use it.
Hold on, you said this.
How many people do you know researching it? If you ask them, if you ask somebody today if they're Black or African American, what you think they're gonna say first?
African American.
They're gonna say they're Black. You don't even hear people. They're gonna say they're Black. You don't even hear people on it. You don't hear nobody.
They Black.
People from Congo are not Black.
But they're gonna say they Black, right? Because that's what you just said.
I said if you go to Black people from America, you know what I'm talking about. You're being facetious, dude. You're being facetious.
No, I'm just saying.
Yes, you are.
Person from Congo, if you say
they're gonna say they're from Congo. No. They're gonna say they're from Congo first. Yes, they are. They're gonna say they're from Congo.
Are they not?
They're gonna say where they're from Congo.
No, that's if you ask.
Yeah, if you talk to somebody older than like
they have a foreign flag in their profile too.
Okay. Like anybody over 20, only them young Africans say they Black. Their parents don't be saying that.
Okay.
Yeah, their parents don't be saying that.
So y'all saying Negro wasn't used in Africa at all?
No, it wasn't.
On what doc? Can you show me a birth certificate of an African saying Negro?
Well, I can.
African birth certificate saying Negro.
Negro land. How about that?
Negro land. I'll ask you for a birth certificate.
I just literally just asked.
Yours says albino. Hold on. Where are you from? Hey, Viv, where are you from? However you say your name.
I'm from Liberia.
You're from Liberia? You said yours says albino.
Yeah, because in Liberia they.
Are you albino? Are you albino?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. You said you're from Liberia. Okay.
Yeah, so my birth certificate specifies, in our country, they have to specify. So mine is written albino.
Wow.
Interesting. Well, that's not a racial category. I never heard of that. But with conscious moron, that's because that the Negro land that was not used as a racial identifier for people within the continent of Africa. That was only limited to an outdated map from 1734 or 1736.
It was actually used to describe the land where
it was not used at all to describe anybody of having African features. It is not. Initially, the term. Will you shut up and let me talk, bro?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
You've been babbling.
Go ahead, bro.
Initially, Negro was used to define somebody of servile status. It ain't got nothing to do with phenotypical.
What status?
Servile. That means that you are in chattel slavery with indigenous people. You never heard of the term servile?
No, not servile. I heard of servant, but not servile.
It means servant. It means slave.
Okay.
It ain't got nothing to do.
I didn't say it. You didn't make it up. I just said
it has nothing to do with phenotype at all. It's an outdated pseudoscientific term that was used upon indigenous Americans first and foremost years before the 1700s within the United States and other parts of the America.
My initial question was Negro used in Africa. He said no. And
not on the census, no. Not
on no records, no.
How would Negro used in Africa on American
census? Hold on, you're talking about Negro land, which is like when was? Hold on, one second. Like Negro land is used in like what years? Negroes, can you show me a record in Africa from that time frame?
My parents' birth certificates and IDs, they have Negro on it.
In Liberia, and what year was that?
My mom was born in 1951, and my father in
1951. And guess when Liberia was? Hold on. Guess when Liberia became Liberia? It's an American colony.
You said what?
Liberia is an American colony.
But I have friends in Zambia that the same thing with their parents. My cousin who lives in Zambia, her friends have Negro on it. Because my mother was born in 1951 and my father was born in 1973. And they have it on theirs.
Yeah, and I what I'm saying is no African document of that documented people would say Negro in anything before the 1900s. Unless it was an American colony like Sierra Leone or Liberia.
It's literally, like I said, a map that says Negro land.
Negro land to describe. It's not a record classifying people. It's not.
It is on there.
It's a land to describe where black people at. That's why it's called Negro land.
Negro land. Okay, so which one of your ancestors? Hold on, Tyrone, hold on. Right. So which one of your ancestors is from Negro land?
I couldn't tell you. The records were taken. You don't realize that? Like, I don't see how y'all get that.
Have you done your
until like the 80s, 90s, something like that.
In what state? In what state did you get to?
The state my people are from, Alabama.
Alabama in the 1780s. Were they in Mobile? No. That sounded like they was in French territory.
They were in Union Springs, but in the 1700s.
Union Springs. In the 1700s. You've been up here before, haven't you?
Yeah,
you've been up here before, haven't you?
Who, me?
I probably have.
No, not you.
I probably have. I'm an FBI.
Yeah, you said this the last time you was there. You said your focus was on Union Springs in the 1780s.
So my story.
Okay, so what state were they in? What state were they in before Alabama?
I literally
told you
the records.
If they got it,
1708, like.
Okay, so that means they came from somewhere else that wasn't Alabama.
Yeah, Africa.
Africa with boat.
Do you think they had? Do you think they took down?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
So if when they had the white slaves were getting on the boat, you think they took down their names?
If they did that in 1619, they would be able to do that in 1780.
So
yes.
You think?
Yeah, do you know who came off the White Tiger in 1619? The White Tiger. That's the name of the boat. No, and the people that got hold on 1 second. The people that got off are people named Margaret Cornsway, Mihiel Gowan, who else? John Archer, It's put, yeah.
So you think
What's
the
his
slaves
name?
were allowed to
People
keep
with the
their
last
names?
Yeah, dude. If they did it
You
in
think the
16,
slaves were allowed to
dude,
keep their names?
can you? Yeah,
Slaves were allowed to
dude,
keep
can
their
you?
names.
What makes you think they didn't do it in 1780?
They didn't.
They did. If they did it, how come I just named some Africans in 1619? If they named some Africans in 1619.
You think those were their African
How
names?
did I just
Those were their
name?
African names?
How did I just name Africa? The Mozingo family kept their African last name. It ties them back to the Nzinga people. They're literally related to Queen. Can you stop talking? They're literally related to Queen Nzinga, and they kept their name over here.
So you think that they kept all slave records? Is that what you're saying?
Why would they just up and lose?
Hold on, bro.
Why would they just? Why would they just up and? You asked me a question. I'm answering it.
I didn't finish.
Why would they be able to keep on? Do you know slavery was a business, right?
Yeah. So why
would people just up and lose business records? It's a prop. They were getting taxed for it. If you had slaves, you were getting taxed.
Yeah.
So why would they lose
their? If you didn't have their name, bro? Don't you?
Yes, they got taxed regardless. Do you know how slavery works and the laws work? Hold on, one second. I'm not done talking. Stop coming off your mic.
You won't let
it. You know that? Yeah, you're on my panel. You're asking me questions. I'm gonna answer them. So with that being said, why would they you got taxed regardless? If you were free and owned land, you got taxed. If you had slaves, you got taxed. You didn't have to have names. If you had slaves, they were getting taxed. So why would people lose their tax records?
They didn't, bro. They didn't let the slaves keep their African names or culture or religion or even family half the time.
Most Africans that came over were Muslims.
Slow, bro.
So which was I'm not being slow. You have no records to prove what you're talking about. Most West Africans that came over were Muslims. And they had tribal. If they weren't Muslims, they had tribal scars on their face and their body. You ain't never seen that before. So don't tell me what I don't know about. If your folks ain't come over, hold on. If your folks, if your folks ain't come over with no tribal scars, I ain't trying to hear it.
What tribe?
They had the Igbo, the Yoruba. Go look it up. Because if I start showing you, ain't gonna have nothing to say.
Yeah.
Yes, I would. Because how long did that last?
It's still going on right. It's still going on right now. Yeah, it's still going on right now. There's the Tutsis. The House of Fulani has tribal scars. There's a Senegalese. I can't remember the name because I really don't give a fuck like that. But
bro, this is what I'm saying. If a slave had a child over here, do you think that slave was allowed to give his child the same scars?
That's not the point. The point is,
yes, it is. They erased their culture.
Right,
that's
on,
what
brother.
I literally said.
I just opened my mouth, brother. You've been up here. You've been up here lying for about 20 minutes. You said that.
Well, then let me get 21.
No. We're not doing that. You said the Negro.
And we got other people. Hold on, we got that, and we got other people on the panel. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me just finish what I was saying though.
You can go after Gabe. Bye. Go ahead. You can finish.
You refer to the Negro. Yeah, what's up? You refer to the Negro. Yeah, what's up, Darby? By the way, bro.
That's good.
You refer to the Negro land map as an identifier for something, and it honestly you didn't make an example that makes the correlation to what Darwin was saying, right? Because first of all, the Negro land map was created in 1747, right? People were being observed as so-called Black, Moorish, Negro way before that, right? And the only reason they refer to that Negro land map as the quote-unquote Negro land map was because of the Niger River and Guinea, right? It had nothing to do with the correlation that you're trying to make. They weren't. This is what YT people do. They go around the world calling people what they think they are, right? And so a lot of you guys are doing the same things that the YT people been did a long time ago. You get what I'm saying? So to say something like, you know, to bring, I just wanted to bring up that point of contention there, because you're using the Negro land map as a point of contention when that was created in 1747 by Manuel Bowen, and it was purely philosophical. It had nothing to do with actual anthropology or geology. It was what they thought because of the people they were seeing, right? So again, you know, that point fell flat because it was YT people who created the Negro land map. It was Emmanuel Bowen, and I think what's his name? Something Moll, Moll. Look it up. It was created in 1747, and they got the inspiration by you know, Guinea, the people of Guinea, and as it refers to the Niger River. So, you know, just stop lying about stuff.
So what does Bilal al-Sadan?
So hold on, Nate. Hold on. We're moving on to Vibe. Go ahead,
No,
Vibe.
I'm just saying, what does Bilal al-Sadan mean? That means the land of the blacks.
All right, we're moving on to Vibe. She wants to speak. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I was saying, when it came to the whole Negro thing, my parents, because my mother was born in 1951, my father was born in 1973, and on both their birth certificates, the word Negro is on there. And my friend in Zambia, my cousins that live there, it's the same thing. It's the same thing for them. And my husband, he's actually from Congo, and he has the same thing on his birth.
How are you doing?
Oh.
You know,
Right.
in Congo, they put Negro on the birth certificate.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yes.
And yeah, go ahead. But Chad, we got the Candy Lady Native, and we got Lois up here and OG. What's up, y'all?
You see what?
I'm talking to people, other people.
Okay.
Hey, driver. Hey, panel. What is it? Your name is, what is it? Consciousness? Is that how you say your name?
It is.
Yeah, conscious.
Okay.
Just call me.
Okay. I had just left a couple of comments. I've been up here for a while, but I left a couple of comments specifically. Have you researched like the amount of paperwork that different, you know, slaves had on them because they were looked at as quote unquote products, right?
Right.
So, you know, they were looked at as quote unquote highly meticulous and ensuring and making sure that if these people fell sick, if they fell ill, if they did break away or, you know, did different kind of things, that they were covered, like the owner could be covered financially. Some people even put up slaves, like if, you know, just for example, if the slave owner, let's just say he needed wood for his home, right? And he didn't have any money to pay for it. He can then take a slave, which was quote unquote looked at as a product, take that person, put him up on the bank, and then eventually he would pay back the money for the wood. If he didn't pay it back though, the bank would then own that slave themselves. So they use it as collateral. So, you know, a lot of these people were well documented. I actually found a group of slaves on my family tree earlier last week. So you know that, right? Or you didn't know that?
But what does them being property have to do with their culture? Do you think they were allowed to keep their culture?
Hold on,
their way of life, their religion, their name?
No.
They were allowed to keep
hold
it.
on, Viv, can you ask your husband to not do that? Because I'm talking. So I'm talking. So he'll have to wait. But anywho, so
that's
my
what
question.
I was getting at. The
Sir, could you mute up?
You've kind of been talking, and you haven't like offered any real. Are you gonna let me talk, or are you just gonna keep talking over me? Because I don't like to speak when men are speaking, nor do I expect for men to speak when I'm speaking.
Well, then you might be. I might just have to mute up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotta pass the mic around.
So I just had that question because again, it doesn't sound like for you to even state that. And then when I asked you that question, did you know that they were actually used as collateral? Did you know that people were, you know, slaves were insured? Did you know, and have you looked on your own family tree to see any documents to see if any slaves existed, and then see any paperwork on them? So then when I asked you that question, you didn't have a real response. So I'll just go ahead and mute up and y'all can finish talking.
All right. Who's next? We got, what's up? Lois, go ahead.
Peace, y'all. I just came up here because I wanted to add on to what you were saying, Darvid, about it was mostly Muslims that was coming over here, because that's true. And if you go back and watch the movie Amistad, and you know that Hollywood like to put stuff in plain sight. In the beginning of the movie, all those so-called African slaves were speaking Arabic. You know, a lot of them was Muslims. There's a Muslim man who tells you his story of him landing in, I think, South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. And that's because it was a religious thing, right? If you really research slavery, it was a religious war, right? Christians versus Muslims, Muslims versus Judaism, yada, yada, yada. So most of the people that was being sent over here were the undesirables of Europe. The undesirables and infidels would be Muslims and Sephardic people, right? Because they're Christianizing Europe at this point. So if you do your family tree or your genealogy and you ain't find no Muslims or actually people called Africans, because there's census records of people that has African on there. If you ain't find none of that, 9 times out of 10, fam, your people was here the whole time, you know. But I just wanted to add that little bit in with what Darvid said earlier.
So yeah, and then if they were tribal, they came over with tribal scars.
All right, Candy Lady.
My husband
ahead,
also
Candy
has
Lady.
tribal scars, so I think that's similar to what they should have come with, because he has tribal scars all over his body. So I think,
Yep.
because what they do in Africa, I don't know if they do it here in the United States. They take like a sort of like what you use for branding for animals, but it's much tinier and smaller, and they branded it over his body when he was a little child.
You say that word on there?
Pardon me?
I ain't taking no chances. I'm just asking if you can say that on TikTok. I mean, you know.
Branding?
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, whatever. We'll see.
He can tell you about it himself.
No, you got to be careful with that, man. Be careful, bro.
Hey.
All right. Yeah, just don't say. Yeah, just don't say that B word.
When I was a little boy, they put marking to mark the body. So that
Can
I
you stop?
You might want to drop her, bro.
Yeah, you might. Well, yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't tell your husband not to.
That's not her husband. She just switching voices. She was just switching voices on another live.
Oh wow, really?
What?
Really?
How can I switch the voice? It's my husband. Are you serious?
Okay, well,
How can I switch the voice?
Cut your camera on, and let's see you standing next to him.
Why would I put my camera on?
Prove us wrong.
No, how could you even think that?
Prove us wrong.
Does my voice sound anything similar to his?
Because I can tell that's not a man's voice. Like
you
think
don't even know him.
Slow.
You don't even know him. He just got here.
Okay.
He just got here. He's learning English.
Okay, one second, real quick. Okay, so prove me wrong, and just put both of y'all hands. You don't even need to put your face in the camera. Just put both of y'all hands in the camera. Just do that.
Have to do that.
Exactly.
Nobody else was asked
You're a
to do
liar.
that. Nobody else was asked to do that.
Anyways, let me address the topic, liar.
No, you don't need to sit there and call me a liar. You're a liar.
You're a liar. Like I said, you're a liar.
I wasn't on any other.
Hispanic, she comes to agitate.
They talk on in the background.
Yeah, I mean, literally, all you got to do is this.
Crazy?
All you got to do is this, like real quick, and turn your camera back off. That's all you got to do.
Who are you?
I mean,
but you don't want to do
y'all do know there is a lot of YT people with black profiles playing.
Right.
Bass in your voice. That's the problem. Like,
exactly.
You sound like a man. It ain't natural.
Or just both of y'all say hello at the same time. That's all you have to do instead of y'all taking turns speaking. Because if that was a real thing, he would have said something to and then the male voice turned on. So
exactly.
Go ahead, Div.
Hey, y'all, TikTok's a funny place.
Guys, he doesn't listen, guys. We shouldn't be discriminating over here. My husband just got in the United States.
Okay, tell him talk right now while you talking. Both on three. Both on three. Both of y'all say.
I
Both
had
of
to
us is
see the
here.
room because he
One.
can.
Have to leave the
Yeah.
room. That's pretty quick.
I
How
have to see
fast
the
he
room
picks up
because
the
he can
phone.
get pretty violent. What
Yo,
I'm saying
this
what
lady
I'm
is
saying is,
insane in the
can you
membrane.
guys sit there?
Y'all on the last live on the last live I was just on, y'all tell me why that she was making a funny voice and she was saying I'm talking like this because I was born premature. So she on
Hey, yo.
yeah.
Crazy?
That's
Are
what
you
she
You
said.
different, shorty. Hey, yo.
Sorry me to
Are
laugh
you
at that.
crazy? I
Hey,
came here and I
yo.
told them I was an albino. I didn't say I was born
She
premature.
did.
Why would you say
You
that?
know what? And she did say that. Come to think of it, she did say she was an albino.
Yeah. She was in a room where
Why are you guys
she was
mocking
pretending
people?
to
Why are
be
you guys trying
crying.
to make fun of people?
Vivi,
So what
we
if
know
I'm an
you.
albino?
We know you, Vivi.
So what
Just
if
give
I'm
it
an
up.
albino?
No,
So
no, no.
what?
We know you. Just give it up.
What do you mean you know
My
me?
bad. I
You don't know
misspoke.
me.
She's not Hispanic. She's African.
So we not about to keep
You guys are just
we're not about to keep centering somebody that needs mental
Yeah.
health. I think that you should just go get help. Like we don't have nothing to do with it. I'm trying to address the topic. Could you
Yeah, can you let him?
okay.
All right.
Yeah, I'm trying to address the
I
topic.
got a solution for that then. Goodbye.
Yeah, thank you. So we can move on. Yeah, because she's strange. Like yeah, think that people can't notice that. Like I was like, how long is she gonna keep this up? But okay, so to the topic, right? What I don't get right, y'all, is when people say, "Oh, well, like some of us did come over here on slave ships. Like we did come over here on slave ships." I'd be like, "Bro, do you hear yourself? Like some of us or we know, like I was born here. How could I come on a slave ship?" Okay, so let's talk about that, and then after that, let's talk about how when you talk about your ancestors, your ancestors double every generation. Your grandparents got parents, their parents got parents. So once you get back 100 to 200 to 400 years, you're talking about thousands of people. So I want people.
Don't work like
so
that.
hold on, real quick. I'm gonna wrap it up right here. You can reply, and then I'll reply to you. So, what I don't get is how people could sit there and say that, like, all Black people's ancestors come from Africa when they only brought the numbers that they tell us is 300,000 slaves here. So, if 200 years ago, I'm gonna give y'all this example. Exactly the math they math, and I'm gonna give y'all this example. And I'm gonna mute. Okay, so 200 years ago, right? You have on average 1,028 ancestors, I believe, right? So 300 separate so-called Black families, that's enough ancestors 200 years ago to count for the entire slave trade. That's 300,000 people. If 200 years ago I got 1,000 ancestors, 200 years ago, Los got 1,000 ancestors, just 300 different families, that's 300,000 people. So how could you say that all Black people ancestors come from Africa? That makes it's mathematically incorrect.
How long did slavery last, brother?
Slavery last. Africans, it was 200. For indigenous Americans, it was the whole
okay,
years.
When did slavery start here in America? Let's
in the United States or the Americas as a whole?
Come on, man. Come on.
In 1640. In 1640.
And on slavevoyages.org it says that the first slaves that came to mainland North America was in 1651, not even 1619. That's on slavevoyages.org.
But it's
and then on top of that, John Punch was the
in James.
16. No, they were not. They were not slaves. They were indentured. They were indentured servants. The first person that was called a slave in America was John Punch. John Punch was sentenced to a lifetime of servitude in Virginia, and they classified him as a slave. To be a slave in Virginia, what? Dude, I'm not. Yeah, when did slavery hit out states like Alabama? When was slavery in Alabama?
1600s.
No, it wasn't.
When was it then?
All right, I'm about to show you now because the westward expansion didn't happen until 1810. When did slavery start in Alabama?
In the 1600s.
Yeah. No, it didn't.
No.
When did it start?
What?
All right, I'm about to show you now. When did slavery start out?
Here, you said
I'm about to. I'm looking it up right now. Look, relax.
Like you would have
relax.
Just give him a second. He said he's gonna pull it up. Be patient. Like y'all need to go
1808.
and, like touch grass.
Slavery in Alabama.
Exactly, because when did Alabama become a state?
Westward expansion didn't start until the 1800s. So the English did not start going to states like Alabama, Mississippi, until the 1800s.
Yep, Georgia. And also, if you read the slave codes, in which I'm sure most of y'all don't even do that, that's why you just go with this narrative. But if you read the 1805 Georgia Slave Code, it says that Indians, Negroes, mulattoes, and mestizos are like their descendants are forever to be chattel slaves. That's exactly what it said. It said nothing about African. None of these slave codes ever say the word African. So I'm trying to figure out who is the Africans if they're not even being mentioned in these slave codes.
Technically, if we're talking about historical means with the term African, it didn't even apply to the indigenous inhabitants of that continent. It meant somebody that was foreign from the Greco-Roman Empire and also the Coptic so-called pale-skinned people that's occupying Northern Africa today. It ain't had nothing to do with your melanated Aboriginal folks. So I don't know why Pangoofies want to hold on to this title Africa when you never actually came up with an actual name for the continent.
Right.
Matter of fact, Australian Aboriginals and so-called Africans are the only people group in the world that never came up with a name for their landmass.
Can I speak?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead. Yes. Where you from? What's your ethnicity?
I'm from America. That's my ethnicity.
Okay.
So I would say, well, what I go by is what our grandparents, our ancestors told us. And they ain't never lied. Everybody else lied, but they have not yet lied to us.
Most definitely.
So do some
What's your thought?
research.
Go ahead.
Look into your family photos, the family Bibles, the family books, do your ancestry, do your research, and then you'll know the truth. Who cares what anybody else say about it?
Thank you for that.
And if we all supposed to be related or some type of connected on this slave story, I'm still waiting on somebody to tell me what boat we all was on when we got here. And what's the
They're not
captain
gonna
name?
have documents because they didn't keep track of like specifics on you know how they got alleged Africans over here in droves like that. It's only in tiny numbers. And when you look
I get that, but you know, if the narrative is 300,000, but we know majority of them went to Brazil, which drops the number down to 90,000, which came here. 90,000 people can't make 50 million of this. So
y'all just said
it's not
Alabama.
90,000, it'll be like 221.
Y'all just said Alabama 1808. Anything after 1807, they couldn't go get African slaves. They outlawed the transportation. So all of them states that slavery started in 1808, all that, they couldn't even go get African slaves no more.
That's a fact. Trading them, especially in Nigeria and Ghana. Some parts of Song had monomopata.
They were,
but it was illegal to bring them to America, and the British Crown had the brigade out there checking ships.
Do you think that slaves could have had slaves here in America and then been sold?
Yes.
Because they didn't have a monopoly. They didn't have a monopoly on slave trade in the way that other nations.
What I'm saying
after 1808, most slaves were bred and then their child.
Y'all trying to dilute my point. My point is that when slavery started in Alabama and most of the western states, they were no longer going to go get Africans because it was illegal.
Them here, you're absolutely. They were breeding them here, and then
and how many women do you think it probably was back then? Because we know that men were the general laborers.
They wasn't breeding them here. They was they was kidnapping indigenous.
Already.
Oh, you can't say that K word.
Well, my bad. They was
forcefully taken
indigenous.
You don't think that they were having child here after 1808?
Yeah, they were, but that's
even
not
before 1808.
After 4 generations, how much of that African? What you got? How much African you got in?
Well, still in you just because you're here in America.
I said after 4 generations, if you mixing with somebody else, another type of person, say a white person, a Native American, or whatever, since we playing your little game. After 4 generations, that African gone, sir.
It depends on how many times you mix with them, bro.
If you ain't mixing back with African, if you mixing with something else after 4 generations, that African gone.
That came over here had an interracial relationship.
Quote unquote.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. You look at John. Hold on. You look at John Punch, the Gowan family. They married Indians. You look at John Punch. His wife was a YT woman.
No, what the brother is trying to say that every African slave who came over here ended up mating with a different race.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
By your logic,
you think they were mating with other races? Hold on.
Yes, they did.
You think they were mating with other races?
Yes, they did. Hold on. One second. Yes, it's documented. I literally just told you names. Yes. When Mahil Gowan came over here, he married an Indian woman. He married a Powhatan woman. When who else? When John Punch, he literally married a YT woman.
Mm-hmm.
Another one, Mozingo. Just say that slaves.
Yeah, the Mozingos
with white women. That's what
YT.
You
yes,
YT.
Slaves were allowed to do.
Yes,
that and have children.
They weren't slaves. They were indentured servants when they came over here.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yes.
John Punch was literally
thing I ever
the first person. Yeah, John Punch was literally.
I didn't ask you indentured
Hold on, one second. John, the people in 1619 were not slaves; they were indentured servants. A slave, like as I defined it, hold on, I'm about to show you.
That's a contract.
Hold on, I'm about to show you.
Contract.
Yeah, lifetime, and then slavery is a lifetime contract of indentured servitude. Lifetime. I'm about to show you now.
Indentured service, you still get to keep your name, your religion. You just work off.
Oh my goodness!
They can't make you lose your name or your religion.
You're an indentured servant.
How can somebody make you lose anything? Hold on. Y'all kill me with this story. They made you
I know lie,
forget your
dude.
name.
I know lie. You got to say
they literally can't.
My bad. I forgot my.
Hold on. The brother earlier said that most of us who came over here are Muslims.
Don't say it around me.
I bet you. The brother who said,
"How can they make you forget your name?"
I'm gonna show you right now. The brother who earlier said,
"How can they make you forget your name?"
I tell you, because they were whipping the shit out of you first and foremost. But the brother said that most of the Africans
can't make you forget. All that is make you not say it.
Hold on.
Let's use common sense now.
Real quick, y'all. Yeah, watch the language. He don't want cussing on his family.
All right, my fault. Just let me get this out. The brother earlier said that most of the slaves that came over here were Muslims. What is the majority of black people now?
Christian.
Yeah, so how did they make us change religion? How did they do that? If we so strong,
because we ain't the people.
No,
we ain't the people.
Black people.
All right, 1 second. John Punch is right here.
Black people change.
Yeah, John Punch. Yeah, John Punch right here. I got his bio right here. Notable. He was a part of the Virginia colony. John Punch was an indentured African who lived in the colony of Virginia during the 17th century. John Punch crossed the ocean by ship with an indentured European men in 1640. The Virginia's Governor Council sentenced him to serve the remainder of his life as punishment for running away to Maryland. In contrast, 2 European men who ran away with him were sentenced to longer Wait a minute. 2 European men who ran away with him were sentenced to longer indentures, but not the permanent loss of their freedom. For this reason, historians consider John Punch the first official slave in the English colonies, in his case as the first legal sanctioning of lifelong slavery in the Chesapeake. Historians also consider this one of the first legal distinctions between Europeans and Africans made in the colony, and a key milestone in the development of the institution of slavery in the United States. And then Obama's also a descendant of him. That's his 11th great grandfather. Dude, did you not see what I just? He was deemed the first official slave in. Oh my gosh.
He ran.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
And then the funny part about that is, right, they didn't name Africa until 1881. So a lot of these, you know, a lot of these people don't even want to refer to what the indigenous name of the continent was, because titles mean something, right? Titles and names mean something. Etymology means something. So if we want to be technical, no, a lot of these people didn't see themselves as African, to keep it a buck. They did not. They see themselves as whatever tribe they were from. And a lot of these dudes that come up here with all these points of contention, they don't even know like the they don't know the what they call it, the occulted history.
And to add on to what the point that you just made earlier, where the guy are admixed, it's true, because people did participate in interracial sexual access, because back then it was more lax, and they didn't come up with these things until the black codes, and after, like, you got Jim Crow, where we were bringing up Mozingo, which that's where descendants are YT people and midgets, and they literally
small people, small
they small
Can't
people. I'm
word.
sorry. They were literally descendants of dwarf. The descendants are dwarves, and the ancestors, they literally of him, they literally bleached themselves out, marrying into YT people. So that's one example of African royalty becoming YTs. Another example is that many people want to run with DNA kits, misconstruing the fact that you're not literally a full blood Bantu. You're literally admixed with different admixed black people that were back then mixed up with indigenous people, mixed up with mulattoes, and also all types of other groups. So it's really hard to connect yourself to an African tribe when literally Black Americans or Mongol style mix and literally Black people in the United States are basically admixed.
Hey, Tyrone.
What you can do about it?
And let me just say this.
Yeah, we got too many. Hold on one second. We got too many Americans on the panel. Somebody gonna have to drop.
Let me ask you a little question, then I'm gonna get online.
Hold on real quick. I'm gonna drop Darvid. I just wanted to say too, to go to your point, Tyron. That's absolutely correct, because when you look at territories like Florida, right, it was owned by the Spanish before the British colonized it. They had to buy it from the Spanish, right? And then when you look at places like New Orleans, right, the Acadians were occupying New Orleans, right? What could you do about the admixture there? What they was just going to be in separate enclaves? They had a different understanding. That's why you have people in Florida that have a lot of that Hispanic, Native, and Black admixture. And then when you look at New Orleans, they got the Acadian, French, Creole, et cetera, et cetera. So them trying to even contend with that is, y'all ain't reading books.
Mm-hmm. And what I also caught on to him, he's still stuck on the roots thing, saying that, oh, they took away our language and religion. No, how it usually got lost was via, they usually took children into, chattel slavery. And many of these people lost it over the generations through survival mechanisms, just like how we lost our Indian identity. People became, and he asked also in the chat, how did we become Christians? Same way Mongol style Native Americans became Christians.
Tyron, really quickly, not to be rude, Darvid, but I just wanted to say this: if when you're tapping on the piano, it's like patting your own back, and it actually algorithm. Don't tap when you're on the panel. If you're in the comments, tap your heart away, but it actually starts looking like we're just like an echo chamber when you do that tapping too much on the panel.
I didn't even know that.
I appreciate it.
But anyway, to wrap up what I was just about to say. But anyways, basically, many people didn't lose their identity through like that whipping scenario of Kunta Kinte saying, say your name. No, that's not realistic because many African cultures, they practice hitting each other with switches and in manhood training or running up on people with sticks and hitting them out of nowhere. You can't do anything about it because it's a part of their culture. So, and this is alien to us. So you don't really lose your identity through somebody hitting you with a bullwhip. You lose it via the younger generations not learning anything about their own cultures from their parents and Europeans, literally preventing in many cases, people preserving their identities. So they had to sneak and do it on their own personal times, like overnight, just like how you get the term moon cricket, right? And if you ever seen that movie with Lisa Bonet, I think it's Interview with a Vampire or something like that, where many of these people were still practicing their cultures in the night or while they were picking cotton and stuff like that, singing hymns and stuff like that. It's still there. It's just that many of people didn't preserve their stuff. So y'all got it. Y'all got the floor.
I was just gonna say to y'all,
practicing their cotton didn't preserve their stuff. So y'all got it. Y'all got the floor. Well, they were trying to eliminate like people that's practicing their indigenous groups and saying that, oh, they all went extinct and they pushed them out to reservations. But initially they put those things out in law because you had a lot of free blacks that were slave owners and stuff like that and could pass for YT, and they received benefits that could blend into white society. And that's why they made these anti-miscegenation laws. For one,
stop them from having
rebellions sex. And also people blending into white society. That's why they created those.
To stop them from mixing.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
they was having a problem with them mixing. That's why they passed the law.
Not only that, is also because rebellions. They wanted to quell these rebellions with alleged Africans and natives teaming up to remove Europeans from power. That's why they employed those laws.
I was just saying it for him to say that he don't think that people was mixing like that. They wouldn't have had to pass a law if they wasn't mixing like that.
Facts.
Some of these people within our community that run with these DNA tests, they believe that there's some of us that maintain a melanin African self when that's not true. That's going to be a rare find because many of our population is basically already admixed black people back in the earliest part of when the chattel slavery started. They were already utilizing indigenous females first as the breeders. So, and through the Y chromosome, which I believe these people don't know how to interpret DNA because
they take the story like they came over here as full-fledged African families. Like a husband and wife came over here and already had they came over here like that. That's how they act like the story is. Like they came over here as couples. They was already together. They came over here as couples. They had babies, and they babies had babies, and they stayed African. That's how they act.
Well, Injun and Tyron, you guys have kind of the same like American indigenous like ideology, which I'm a part of that American ideology too, right? But they like to tell us that we have this story of we were just all getting schmaped though, right? Mm-hmm. But if you like just look at the current times, when you look at like a commercial or a movie premiere, it's never us together. It's always us with an other.
They promote interracial. They're promoting it right now.
They're promoting. They've always promoted it. They're trying to say that, oh, we were just getting schmaped like that. Let's be for real. If what they're saying is true, 380,000 West Africans came over here and they just got schmaped to like whatever, to unaliving. But then why would some of us have Icelandic in us? Like, were they doing that too? You know, like Northern Europeans.
So how do they have this European, you know, like how Skip Gates said, oh, we were only just YT smaped with Africans. Here's the fallacy at that point. because when they're trying to minimize the indigenous DNA, a lot of and bring up the 5 civilized tribes, a lot of the 5 civilized tribes themselves were admixed with YT. The ones that they show you the face of, those were literally Metis type people. So what they're saying is that you receive the YT's Y genetics trying to create matrilineal deception, because indigenous tribes went by matrilineal claims. If you got the mother's bloodline, that makes you an Indian. If it's from the father's bloodline, that makes you of his own stock of indigenous people. So with that being said, they're counting the YT's genetics and hiding the indigenous American genetics that's dormant within Black Americans, and trying to say we don't have indigenous heritage. It's African.
Well, you know, Regina had a great point in the comments. She said we got to get shots before going over there. And I was in the military, the Air Force. And whenever we would go to any other country outside of the U.S., Europe too, we had to get vaccinations so that we could just actually like not be unalive there. If they have malaria, they have yellow fever, a lot of different diseases, whatever, diseases, right? If we were them, we would already have that immunity built up, right? But our immunity comes from the south part of America, the oldest part of us, right? And then we traveled upwards, and we don't have any problem traveling within America. It's only when we leave outside of the continent of America that we have to get vaccinations, because we don't have that immunity built up within our DNA. That's when DNA actually matters.
That makes sense, because many of our people that went and returned to Liberia or settled in Sierra Leone, many of them unalived from like yellow fever and malaria and stuff like that when trying to set up shop there.
I've been reading a lot of stuff from that time period on Liberia in the meetings. None of these people is saying they from Africa.
No, they didn't see themselves
nobody
as
stood
African.
up in now meeting and said, we got African ancestry. None of that. And none of this stuff I'm reading about that.
Yeah, that's where the America comes from, because they refuse to acknowledge themselves as being African. So they delineate themselves while being in Africa. They're like, yeah, we're America. Not yeah. At all.
Not gonna exile me from my native land. They saying you're not gonna remove me from my house. You're not gonna move me from my home. They saying you're not gonna remove me from my house. You're not gonna remove me from my home. They're not talking about no. Let's go back to Africa. Let's return home where our ancestors.
Oh, how y'all doing?
What's up, Jeremy?
I'm gonna answer the prompt. I believe most Blacks are indigenous for sure. Only a little bit of us, a little bit of them.
I'm sorry, I got kicked out the
I'm
sorry, I got kicked out the whole app.
So-called Black people come from the Americas. For the most part.
Do this. I guess we're starting to get too real. Like, I literally just got kicked out the whole app for like a second.
To me too. They do that to me too. They kick me out the whole app, and I have to come back.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
And speaking of which, they done took down my page for out of unknown reasons, and this is my newer page. So I was just about to do somebody, I believe I was on someone's panel. They tried to report my stuff to guidelines, and now I had to start my stuff on back again, and it's annoying. But anyway.
Say this though too before everybody like leaves out, because I inboxed you, Darvin. I'm not gonna say too much, but you already were, you were having the same frustrations I was having We have to be discreet about it, but it's time to do an exodus. We have to speak in like these like witches, like unaliving and all this stuff, whatever. But one thing is, whenever we start getting right next to the nitty gritty of what it is, they just start like reporting us, and it's actually mostly TikTok, and then some of the people who are agents on TikTok. So that's going to say that. But we are indigenous, not the blacks, but the Black Americans. You know. So.
Right. Not just TikTok, YouTube as well, or Instagram, X. I came across this video in my recommends on YouTube, and they literally was talking about East Indians calling them insects and all this, and talking about the hats. So they blatantly showing their racism on these platforms, and it's owned by these companies that will censor us, talking about reparations and us being indigenous to here. So yeah, I know where you coming from with this. We need our own spaces where we can freely speak up and not be censored by these tech companies that allow these racists to say whatever they want to say. So reparations and us being indigenous to here. So yeah, I know where you coming from with this. We need